All right, let's jump right into this explainer and unpack the foundational concepts of artificial intelligence. Now, if you are a complete beginner to this space, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're going to build a shared understanding of AI completely from the ground up, drawing on insights from industry pioneers. But to really get a grip on where we are today, we kind of have to start with a massive technological inflection point that changed literally everything. 2 months. Seriously, the truly staggering thing here is the sheer speed of adoption we've just witnessed. It took only 2 short months for ChatGPT to reach 100 million users after it was released back in November of 2022. I mean, that is a jaw-dropping number, and it represents a massive, massive cultural shift. To put that generative AI explosion into perspective, let's look at a few quick comparisons. Netflix, that took 18 years to hit that 100 million milestone. Spotify took 11 years. Even an app like TikTok, which we all thought was incredibly viral and blazingly fast at 9 months, was just completely blown past by AI in a fraction of the time. It really truly captured the world's imagination overnight.
Okay, moving into section 1, decoding the buzzwords. We are going to separate science fiction from computer science.
So what's the big paradigm shift between how we used to work with computers and how we do it now? Well, historically, we were taught to be programmers, right? Traditional programming basically means you come up with an algorithm, you codify it into this very rigid language, and then you hand it to a system that just blindly follows those exact steps. But humans, we don't learn that way. I mean, if we did, you could just plug a USB drive into your head and instantly know kung fu. Instead, humans learn through inference and discovery. AI is simply a branch of computer science designed to mimic that exact human ability to discover, infer, and reason through pattern matching rather than explicit line-by-line instructions. Now, instead of viewing all these buzzwords as competing technologies, think of them kind of like a Russian nesting doll, where each subfield powers the next one. The big overarching umbrella is artificial intelligence. Inside that, you have machine learning, then deep learning, and finally, those generative AI foundation models that ultimately power the chatbots we're all using today. Let's break those down a bit. Think of machine learning as pattern matching on steroids. Imagine feeding a computer system endless images of chairs. After a while, it starts to develop its own mathematical idea of what a chair is. It intuitively grasps what makes a chair, and you never had to code in the exact dimensions or explain the physics of a human sitting down. When you show it a brand new image, it can just naturally predict if it's a chair based on those learned patterns. Deep learning takes this a whole step further. It uses something called neural networks, which are actually designed to loosely mimic the structure and function of the human brain. This architecture is what allows the computer to process incredibly complex information, and it's the core foundational technology powering those massive language models we see everywhere right now.
Which brings us to section 2, the moving finish line. Here's how we keep redefining intelligence.
You know, it's funny, when we look back at our history with tech, you can see how our goalposts are just constantly shifting. Decades ago, if you could do complex math quickly in your head, you were a genius. Then we invented calculators, and suddenly math wasn't true intelligence anymore. Then we said, okay, well, a computer could never beat a grandmaster at chess because it requires too much human intuition. But then, in 1997, IBM's Deep Blue beat Garry Kasparov. So we moved the goalposts again. We said a computer could never understand human idioms or jokes. Yet in 2011, IBM's Watson absolutely destroyed human champions on Jeopardy! Every single time a milestone was passed, even beating the famous Turing test in 2014, people would say, yeah, but it still doesn't feel like intelligence. Honestly, it wasn't until 2022 that the public collectively agreed we had finally arrived.
But as we look at these incredible achievements, it is absolutely vital to note where we actually are today. Everything we currently have, from your favorite chatbot to self-driving cars, is artificial narrow intelligence. It has this savant-like expertise, but only in a single specific space. A language model might write a beautiful poem, but it has literally no idea what a photograph is. We are definitely working toward artificial general intelligence, a system that can do any intellectual task a human can. But to be clear, we are simply not there yet.
All right, let's jump to section 3, risks and realities. It's time to address the elephant in the room. Because here's the massive existential question that professionals across every single industry are asking as this tech scales up and enters the workplace. The most honest answer?
Yes, it's absolutely going to do both. Think about the invention of the light bulb. It definitely reduced the need for candle makers, sure, but it didn't eliminate candles entirely. Instead, it completely changed the industry while creating thousands of entirely new jobs in electricity. AI is going to do the exact same thing. It'll simultaneously disrupt existing mundane roles while creating massive new opportunities for anyone willing to adapt. So a huge part of protecting yourself going forward is knowing the current limits of the tech. One major flaw right now: hallucinations. This is when an AI just confidently makes things up. For example, a chatbot might write a highly accurate biography of an expert you know, but then completely fabricate that they got their PhD from Texas Tech or taught at Southern Methodist University, places they've literally never stepped foot in. It blends the truth with highly plausible errors, and the scary part is, it doesn't give you any cues that it's just guessing. And of course, this new era creates a massive new attack surface. We're seeing prompt injections, where attackers bypass safety guardrails, like tricking an AI into writing a bomb recipe by pretending it's just a stressed student asking what chemical mixtures to avoid for a test. We also have deepfakes. Bad actors are already using incredibly realistic video and audio impersonations to pose as company executives on Zoom calls, and they are successfully tricking employees into wiring tens of millions of dollars right into attackers' bank accounts. So let's get practical with Section 4, your AI Toolkit: How to Thrive in the Autonomous Future. Since AI is basically acting as your new, highly capable co-pilot, just memorizing facts isn't going to be the key to success anymore. Your most valuable skills, they're actually going to be your most human ones. First, critical thinking. You absolutely must question everything you see to spot those hallucinations and deepfakes. Second, creativity. You have to imagine entirely new use cases to guide the AI, since it's going to be doing the heavy lifting of the actual execution. And finally, adaptability. You have to be willing to continuously learn and roll with the punches. I absolutely love this analogy from the source material. The train is moving down the track, and it is nearing full speed. You simply cannot stand on the tracks and yell stop. We all know exactly how that story ends. The real winners in this era will be the ones who get on board, adapt, and learn how to collaborate with AI effectively so they can actually grab the wheel and steer where it goes. So where is this train actually heading next? Well, towards agentic AI. We are actively moving away from those simple chatbots where you have to prompt every single tiny step. Very soon, we'll have fully autonomous agents. You'll just give the AI a broader goal, kind of like a manager delegating a task to an employee, provide it with the right data and resources, and the AI will just go off and figure out the complex, multi-step execution entirely on its own. And as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final, really provocative thought to chew on. Because this isn't just about computer science anymore, right? This touches psychology, business, law, the whole shebang. As we transition to agentic AI and we grant these systems the actual autonomy to make real-world decisions without us holding their hands, how do we encode human ethics into that software? And maybe more importantly, when an autonomous agent inevitably makes a mistake, who is truly accountable? Think about that as you start navigating this brave new AI world.